Hi guys, welcome to our newest feature, which we are going to be hopefully making a sort of more commonplace thing. We're going to be calling it Car Talk. And this is going to be where we kind of sit in one of our cars or around one of our cars and we just talk about the things that are going on in the automotive world and about our views on it, and also just our experiences with cars and everything like that. So yeah, let us know what you think. Hit us in the comments below. Also don't forget to like and subscribe as well if you like what you're seeing, and just to let us know. And and also if you want to get in contact with us to discuss something that we are discussing, or if you'd like to put a topic to us to discuss in the Car Talks, then find us on Instagram, and also we've got a group and a page on Facebook, so always feel free to reach out. We'll always try and get back to you as well. So I hope you enjoy. Here's Car Talks. So with the rising prices of fuel and everything at the minute, it started getting me thinking about the supposed renewable options of the electric cars and bits and bobs like that, really, because I mean, you guys don't need us to tell you about the rising fuel costs and how ridiculous it's getting out there. I mean, it was £2 a litre in one of the service stations not far from us recently, which is absolutely terrible. And
to be fair, the cheaper areas aren't that much cheaper.
No, that's it. I mean, it's, to be honest, getting to the stage where it's nearly putting my truck out of commission for anything other than the odd fun day here or there once a month, because it's just ridiculous. And I mean, I know it's my fault for having a gas guzzler and everything before anyone comments, but but it's one of those things. So I mean, we've got all these renewable energies coming, but I mean, to be honest, I know that the energy crisis hasn't just hit the petrol, is it? That's the other thing that's a bit of a
well, this is the thing is with energy prices going up, are electric cars going to be that cheap to run soon? That's
the thing, is a bit of a worry. I mean, to be honest, I know that the range is going up all the time on the electric cars, which is really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is going up, which is, I mean, to be honest, you look at the first electric cars that came out, the first full EVs. I mean, because you've got the hybrids, mild hybrids, which are the petrol engines or diesel engines with the motor on, which is a good idea, but you're still using petrol and gasoline, fuel, and I mean, they've been going for ages. I mean, you go look back at the first Prius and the Honda Insights and things like that. I mean, they were out in the late 90s, which is, so they were starting to move that way then. But the first EVs, I mean, you look at like the original Leaf and Zoe, I mean, you had ranges of under 100 miles, like realistic ranges. I mean, I don't know what they say on the books for them, but I've known somebody who had to deal with a Leaf as a daily, and he said that in the winter months when you've got heaters on, wipers on, lights on, things like that, you're getting like 60 to 80 miles range. And
plus the cold weather knocks the range down as well.
Exactly. And I mean, it's like a phone or a laptop, isn't it, as well? The thing is, if you go away on holiday, you leave your phone or your laptop in the house now, even when they're switched off, you're still going to come back with less battery than when you went away on. And it's the same with the electric cars.
Well, I suppose it wouldn't be, well, if you had the luxury of a garage that you could keep warm and also, I suppose, keep it plugged in, then it's not too bad at all. But I mean, the majority of people don't have a garage or anywhere to plug them in a lot of the times.
That's it. I mean, I've been to a chap before, spoke to him about his Tesla, and I mean, he lived probably about 15-20 miles away from the local services we got, and I mean, he told me that he could plug it into the house, but he got something like 3 miles per hour or something like that. So for a 12-hour charge, you'd be getting about 36 miles range out of it, which is peanuts.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he went to the services, which is what he used to do, is once a week he'd go to the services and charge it up for 2 hours, or not even that. I think it was, because it was a Tesla, I think it was more like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But he'd go there, have a coffee and that, and it was brilliant. It would charge up really well then. But it's so I mean, even if you can charge it at the house, it's whether you can actually get anything near a supercharger or fast charger out of the house mains is quite yet to be seen. But it's
I know you can get the power boxes installed which stop it running off your normal power. It does like a converting kind of thing, so instead of it being run on 12 volts from your house, it does actually convert it to more powerful charging.
Yeah.
But the only problem is that's something extra you've got to pay for, and you've got to get somebody to come and install it if you've got somewhere where you can actually put it.
That's it. And I mean, because I mean, to be honest, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. And I mean, I think electrically motored or electrically powered cars will be the way forward, because it's
going to be the future.
It's got so much backing. But I think there is all these downsides. But I think the thing I always say to people is, I think you've got to look at the electric cars of today like the Model T is compared, like in the gasoline engine sort of world, like when they were first coming out, that sort of thing, or that German thing, the guy who made Mercedes, the Benz thing that was made in like 18 something. You try driving that now, you get like 6 miles an hour maximum speed. It probably does about like half a mile to a gallon of fuel. It's got no boot space. It's got no roof. It would be a horrible car as a daily.
Oh yeah.
But like you look at the cars we've got now, like all these brand spanking new cars that are coming out, whether it's Beamer, like Merc, Nissan, Renault, whatever it is, they've come on worlds different. And I think that's what we've got to realise about the electric cars. They're still quite new and at the embryo stage, really.
Oh yeah, but give it 10 years time and they'll probably have fantastic range, and we'll probably all have one.
Well, that's it. And the thing is, they have come a massive way since the days of the first Leaf and the first Zoe and things like that. The newer ones now, they seem to all be coming with about 300 miles range, which isn't that much different to a tank of fuel you get out of a lot of cars. And I mean, which is fantastic, because I mean, my biggest beef at the beginning is like, I've got a family and I've got 2 young kids, and the idea of having to, like, a car that had 60 miles range, I've got family that live like 180 miles away, so I would literally have to charge it before I left to full, stop somewhere halfway at the services, charge it for another 2.5 hours, get most of the way to Devon, probably stop and have to charge it again for another few hours. And the thing is, trying to keep 2 young kids entertained at services, you've got no chance. It's not for 2 hours whilst your car's charging. So the early ones were they just were nowhere near good enough for me to even consider.
They would have been all right for round town or to work or something like that, but you wouldn't have wanted to use them for long journeys. Yeah,
I think if you lived in a city and you worked in a city, it'd be a fantastic thing to have, and it would be something, it would be viable for someone then.
Well, my trip to work is a 6 mile round trip every day, so for me an electric car would be perfect.
Yeah, that's it. Something like that would be perfect. But at this stage with their development, I still want my petrol engine sat at home for the long journeys, for the adventures, for things like that. Yeah, because even my truck, which does 23 miles per gallon on the motorway on a good day, that thing is hideously thirsty for what it is. But even though that is, like, the thing is, if that's getting low on fuel or low on range, I pull into a garage, within 5-10 minutes I've got another 350 miles range with a full tank, and I'm on my way again. And it's brilliant. But it is something, like I said, it's definitely the future. And like I said, with rising fuel prices, it is something worth looking at, because some of these cars are working out, they're like doing something stupid like 60 pence to them, or not even that, it's like less than that per like 10 miles or something. So, and
every manufacturer is bringing something out.
Yeah,
you know,
you got the 40 Mac, you got you got the Hondas, because funny enough, I saw the new Honda Jazz electric for the first time yesterday, and that was really cool. You've got the Toyotas have got their, is it the Auris and things like that, which are fully electric. A lot of them are all doing it, even like MG, like the smaller companies that have not got like millions and billions of backing and things like that, they've got like fully electric cars are coming out. Everyone's doing it, and it is definitely going to be the way forward, but it's how they do it, I think, is going to change personally. Because my thinking is, because the Japanese, I mean, well, I worked for Mazda for a long time, and well, not for a long time, I worked for Mazda for a while, and I mean, I left them in 2007, and back then, I remember whilst I was still working for them, they had an RX-8, which was their biggest gas guzzler, and they'd actually converted it to a hydrogen, so it was running like a combustion engine, but using hydrogen instead. So the only output of the exhaust was H2O, which is water, which is fantastic. And like I said, that was 2007. So I mean, that, how many years ago was that now? 16, 17 years ago?
Oh, 14, 15 years ago, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, maths is terrible. But there was, and then I worked for Honda a little while after that. And I mean, they have I think it's the FCX, they call it in Japan. And that is a hydrogen car.
Yeah, because they had them in California for a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, and again, I can't remember where they were the ones that run on the combustion engine that runs on hydrogen. But that's the other thing, is like, if they actually put their backing into hydrogen, you could run a combustion engine on it, which would be fantastic. And I know a lot of people are saying it's dangerous and things, but you can actually have the gases separate and make them at the engine, which means that the tanks are more or less harmless, and which is fantastic. So I mean, and to be honest, I think the application of it could be amazing, because the thing is, you think you've got something you absolutely love, your car, the car of your dreams, like if you had your Escort Cosworth, I know it's your dream car, if you had that, but you could convert it to run on hydrogen, then that would be fantastic. And well,
it's like a lot of people now who are converting their classic cars to electric to make sure they keep going.
That's the thing. And yeah, it seems like, I think hydrogen, from what I've read, would actually be less of an invasive conversion, because you're not ripping out the entire power plant. Just adjusting things, changing things, and making it work in a different way. So you'd still have your nice engine noise, and you'd still have that nostalgic feel a bit more, I think. Because
the other thing as well is fuel stations would still be the same where they are. They just have a hydrogen tank underneath instead of petrol or unleaded. And also, you wouldn't have the long times for filling up, because
Yeah.
you'd fill up just like you would a petrol or diesel.
Exactly. So I think that's a positive. So I mean, for the petrol heads like us, I think that would be a really good way to go. And also, I believe the FCX may have actually been hydrogen fuel cell,
Right.
which means it's an electric car, but it actually produces electric using a hydrogen fuel cell. And to do that, you can fill up a hydrogen fuel tank. So again, instead of charging the car, you stop at a petrol station, fill it up with hydrogen, and away to go. And I mean, I've always been a bit of
it's clean energy for clean energy then, isn't it?
Exactly. And they can still charge for it and everything, but I think it's hydrogen, I think, is the way forward, mainly because I mean, I'm a big believer that the Japanese are usually quite well ahead with when it comes to technology and with things like that. And I mean, again, like I said, this is my opinion. I'm not saying it's definite, but it's just from what I've seen from years in the trade. They do seem to have very good grip on technology. And I mean, some of their, it's weird, they do and they don't, because some of their cars technology tends to come out after some of the other manufacturers, but the Japanese will take what someone else is doing, having a look at it and everything, or they'll develop their own, but they'll develop it and develop it and develop it and test it and test it and test it, and they won't put it in their cars until it's right, which is awesome. So when it comes out with them, it's good. But because they are on the forefront of different technologies and that they've been backing hydrogen since like the early 2000s, I think that that is probably going to be the way it goes. What the good way to go, because like I say, research has been going on for ages, whereas the charging doesn't seem as sustainable.
Well, people who live in blocks of flats can't charge a car if there's no car park, or if their car's parked down the street. And
to be honest as well, there's because there's that as well. And I mean, the other thing as well is like congestion at charging stations as well, because the thing is as well, if the charging times are still staying up 20 minutes, because I mean, they reckon a lot of the newest cars coming out, which is really, I do think is impressive, it takes about 20 minutes to charge them from nearly empty to 80%, which is...
A lot of them come out with the ability for
awesome.
fast charging.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, that is a massive step forwards for them, and it makes them a lot more usable. But it's, I don't know, it's it's a bit of a strange... It's a sticky wicket at the minute, I think. Excuse me, that means we've been 10 minutes. But yeah, no, it's a very difficult one to put your hands on. I mean, and to be honest, don't get me wrong, I think as well, the other thing I think about is, like, to be honest, 90% of us charge our phones without thinking about it. We charge our laptops without thinking about it. And we charge a lot of other things without thinking about it. I mean, including the camera we're talking to you on now. I mean, so it probably will get to the stage where when it is something we've all got and we have to go, oh, I've got to charge my car, I haven't got much range. It'll be just the normal. So, I mean, I think people will adapt to the cars rather than the other way around a little bit.
Oh, but, definitely. But the thing is
whilst our generations go in and we've got the, we can still remember being able to go to a petrol pump and go, and that's it, done. I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle to overcome.
Well, the thing is if you forget to charge your car overnight, you're screwed when you comes in the morning. If you forget to put fuel in your car, say you've got enough for like 10 or 15 miles range, if you get up in the morning and go, oh, I haven't got any fuel, you can still get to a fuel station and fill up. Yeah,
and you can leave for work just 5 minutes early rather than, what, half an hour early. Just
But if you're charging at home where you can only get 3 miles an hour, you know, to get to the local petrol station, you may need to charge for 2 hours to get that.
And the other thing as well is like, the other thing as well is like, at the minute, if we have a power cut in either of our houses, we can still go out to our cars in the morning, drive to work and not worry about it. Whereas the thing is, what if you have a power cut in the middle of the night in your house, or does that affect the charging station, or does that run? I don't know if that might be run off of different mains. I say that's something you guys might be able to tell us, actually, because like I said, we don't know all of it, but that's something that would be interesting to look into.
I'm also not sure if the national grid would actually be able to produce enough if we all had electric cars.
That was one thing I was actually going to say a couple of minutes ago, because I actually did have I went to do some training with electric cars, and that was one thing they said, is they don't want everyone to suddenly they don't want everyone, like everyone in the UK, just to go bang and tomorrow we go and all buy an electric car, because our national grid isn't sustainable enough. Because I believe that somebody told me the other day, again, this was hearsay, it was from somebody who I was speaking to, I don't know how true it is because I haven't actually looked into it, but apparently they reckon that we actually buy so much electricity a year off of France because they make enough that they can sell it to us.
EDF,
but we end up actually buying electricity off of them because we haven't actually got we haven't got enough to supply the demand in our country at the moment. So I think if we all went to an electric car, then that would cripple the system. We would have rolling blackouts, things like that. We'd have all sorts of issues. So I mean, I know it's something they're trying to usher in a bit more cleverly, but the only problem is with this 2030 ban, it's getting to the stage, and also we're getting to the stage as well, like, I mean, like me and you, we've got cars that we own outright. We've got old cars that we own outright. We love them to bits. They've got problems. Yeah, they've got problems. They're old cars, but they're our cars. But we're getting to a stage where now we're seeing more and more people go down the finance route. And I mean, we're not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it is getting to the stage where cars are becoming a lot more throwaway, like phones and other things like that.
Yeah.
And also, like I say, we're going into the sort of era where a lot of people are buying these cars or renting these cars and leasing them for like 3 years before they put it back to another one. So everybody who's leasing a car now, eventually they'll have no choice but to go electric, because I believe a lot of them now are finding that they can't do it with a diesel anymore.
No,
because I spoke to somebody who worked for a Nissan dealership, and he said that I think the biggest engine they do now, or the most powerful engine they do now, is a 1.5 turbo engine, petrol engine, or a 1.3 turbo petrol engine. That includes all the Qashqais, all the big ones and that. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're really impressive, really powerful little power plants, but I don't believe they do diesel as an option on anything other than possibly some of the more commercial side of it. I think vans and things like that will still come with a diesel option, and some of the four-wheel drives will be held out for a bit longer as well, because again, people like to talk with them, and they are good for workhorses.
So they are slowly starting to get phased out then.
Yeah, but I think if you wanted to go and buy a brand, and I don't think Nissan are the only ones doing it, so I think if you wanted to go out tomorrow and buy a brand spanking car, I think you would struggle to find a brand spanking diesel.
Yeah.
Unless it's old stock, which is quite interesting, and that'll eventually be the way it goes with electric as well, because they are trying to phase out diesels, which is a shame. But I mean, I know that they are struggling to keep them going through emissions and stop polluting and everything without adding all these extra filters on, which, I mean, if anyone's had any of those cars, they'll probably know the issues that can come with them. But it is a shame. It's a shame, but it's exciting at the same time. I mean, what do you think? I would say, because that's the way I always say to people, is like, before I was a firm believer that it was a fad, it was going to go out of fashion. I didn't like it at all. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the right sounding engine, like a V8 petrol, will give me goosebumps. I love it to bits, and that is one thing I'm really going to sorely miss, the nice sounding cars. But, and I am still probably a bit more of an advocate for petrol, but I do think it's exciting in one way, because we're actually going to live through the age where we see the new era of transport being ushered in, which is kind of cool.
Well, we missed out on steam to internal combustion, didn't we? That's
it, and horse-drawn carriages to cars and things like that. So I mean, it's an exciting time, but I do think I think it's also, I get nostalgic. Some days I get nostalgic, and I think it's a real shame.
Well, I like the idea of electric cars, and I think for smaller journeys and bits and pieces, I think they'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
if they can get the range up to to do long distance, great. But at the moment, it's going to be a little while off, I think. But if it's a way we're going to have to go, it's a way we're going to have to go. But from what we've both been saying, really, is we both like the idea of electric cars, but we prefer hydrogen.
Yeah, and to be honest, and I really love my petrol engines. I really do. I know there's a lot of people out there love the diesel engines as well, but I've always been more of an advocate for petrol. Just the noise, like my straight six Beamer, I love that noise. The V6 Shogun, love that noise. It's just and that's the thing I do. And the other day, funny enough, I was parked up somewhere. I'll make this my last point. But yeah, because I know that we've gone into the 17-minute mark now, I believe.
Fair play.
But yeah, the other day I was parked up somewhere on a break, and a car went past. I can't remember whether it was Maserati or something like that, and the noise caught my attention, and I was like, oh wow, that sounds lovely. And then right behind that was an Audi e-tron, and don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful looking car, and but it was strange because that went past, and it was just like, I'm really going to miss it when the noisy cars. Well, I'm going to miss them when they're gone.
To be fair, we're going to be at the age of turning your head to go, oh, what was that? Because you're not even going to know what's gone past you.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's...
what made that whoosh?
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the other thing we haven't touched on, which I know a lot of you may end up putting comments about as well, is the performance. And I know that the performance, the instant torque you get out of an electric motor.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
And I have driven electric cars, and don't get me wrong, it is impressive. It is like a stop, and it is like an instant go button. You put your foot down, it's boof. And like I say, and that is another part that really excites me about it, is the power. I mean, you look at the ludicrous or whatever package it is that Tesla do. And yeah, things like that is really exciting, because I mean,
all the Rimac 2 with nearly 2,000 horsepower.
That's the thing, and they've this side of the technology is really exciting to me, and I have to, that's another good point that I haven't actually put in until just now. So again, I know I said the last point was going to be my last point, but this one is now. But I wanted to say, yeah, the performance of it compared to combustion engines, really impressive, and there's not many moving parts, so there's not a great deal to go wrong aside from the batteries.
Cheaper servicing. Yeah,
that's true. And I mean, the other thing as well I was going to say is the other downside is what they do with the batteries when they're gone. But I mean, again, the technology will come. I'm sure that they will find, because the battery technology is racing ahead, so I mean, I'm sure they will find some sort of carbon battery or something that can be put back into the ground afterwards and biodegrade lovely. But it's just like I say, it's definitely going to be the way we go, but we're just not there yet, I think.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, so did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, just let us know what you guys think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's we thought we'd do this one as a kick-off, just because it's
well, it was something we were talking about whilst we were filming the intro.
Exactly, and it's something that is very current at the minute, and I think it's on all of our minds as petrol heads or car enthusiasts or whatever you'd like to call yourselves. But yeah, fire anything you'd like to know in the comments. Don't forget also, we are on Facebook. We've got a group which is public, anyone's allowed to join, and we've also got a page. We've also got Instagrams. Mine is wolf_kiff though, so it's not actually Wolf Kiff Workshop, but I tag everything as Wolf Kiff Workshop. And we've also got a TikTok, which we're occasionally on with little sneak peeks and behind the scenes, and there is a Twitter, but I don't really use it, so no. But yeah, so let us know what you think. Thanks guys, and I hope we didn't bore you too much.